Hello, this is Paula Downey, and I have a message from the Lord. This message is the way you did things yesterday is not the way God is expecting you to do it today. Now, this is a prophetic message that I'm delivering here. I am in the park right now, as you can see, and I was reading the Bible. So, as I was reading the Bible, God was speaking this into my spirit. And I actually had planned on talking about this, like delivering this message in the next few days, because I do have another message that God has me to speak on later this week. But God said, no, speak on it today, simply because it's going to make the message that you deliver in its entirety too long, because this one is a little piece too. So I am going to, so that's why I'm doing this one today. And basically he used this analogy, and it's an analogy about what I have gone through, what I have gone through in creating my business. He said that this applies to some of the viewers out there who will be listening to this. Like I said, as I was reading the Bible, um, he started speaking to me about my business, and basically about how it all started and how it began. And so basically, when my business started in 2017, um, he God asked me to create social media. So he asked me to, like open up Twitter as well as Instagram. So he wanted me to create those two social media accounts. So I did that. I did that, and I started posting things on Twitter, but I didn't post them on Instagram because I was petrified of just what I had to produce, because my company is called Skin Products Work. So it's about skincare. It's about skincare products. So I didn't know how I could make an account about products interesting. I didn't know how to be creative when it came to, like posting these products. And I was really scared to do it. And, just the thought of it, just the thought, because the Skin Products Work is like, my goodness, okay, like that's the account. So obviously I'm going to be posting about skincare products, because unlike makeup, where you can have tutorials on how you apply makeup, how you apply lipstick, how you apply, mascara, false lashes, shadows, everything. You can't do that with skincare. It's just a completely different beast. So I knew that I was going to have to make the products that I was going to be talking about interesting. So I was terrified. I didn't know how I was going to do that. So I, continued to post things on Twitter because it was easy. And I really didn't post a lot about my business, maybe a little bit about the business, but I didn't take pictures or anything. And it was just easier to do on Twitter. And quite frankly, but I really avoided Instagram. I didn't post anything on Instagram. God said, like several months had gone by. I began this in June, and several months had gone by. And, God said, I want you to post on social media. And I said, I have been, I have been. And he said, no, you haven't been posting on Instagram. I didn't do it because I didn't have the conversation with him, but I was having the conversation with myself that I do not know how to make this account interesting. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to take pictures. Like how many interesting pictures can you take of skincare products and make it work and make it interesting and, tell a story about it. So then this was in October, and I think it was coming late in October. And God, He said to me, you have to post on Instagram. And that was a pretty stern voice. Like I knew he was serious. He was serious before, but he was gentle about it. But this time he was more stern. So I posted. I know, and before I posted, I actually said to him, because I knew that he meant it. Like I knew he meant what he was saying, that he wanted me to start posting on Instagram. So I said to him, God, I don't know how I'm going to make this account interesting. It's skincare products. And he said to me, you will make it work. So I took that message that he gave me and I started posting products, skincare products, on my Instagram account. And later, then I learned, that I should also be talking about these skincare products. In 2017, there weren't as many. There weren't as many creators talking about skincare products then as there are now. Now there are a lot, but when I started in 2017, there weren't as many. There were a lot of tutorials and creators and content creators on makeup, but not a lot on skincare. Or what they had is they had makeup and skincare, but they didn't have it to the point of really like delving into the skincare products and talking about the skin. So I did that. I did what he asked me to do, and I was really surprised by what I could do um, in creating that account, and what I could do with the products and how I could talk about them, taking all, being creative and taking pictures um, of various skincare products and talking about how they work, and just how they work. And then, like I said, I had my tutorials on skincare products as well. Either I would do them inside at home, or I would take them outside, and I would do them outside, just to make it interesting and fun. Um, I, of course, then like my account was not an account to put products down. So because I've tried many things, there are things that there are products that I don't care for, and there are products that I do care for. And there were enough people out there, there were enough creators out there who were talking about things that didn't work and things that did work. So I said they don't need one more voice in that. So I tried to make, or I did make my account as positive as possible, just promoting products that I liked and that I knew were effective and that worked. And then, of course, what I did, because I was a beauty consultant, so I also did bring in fragrance and I also did bring in makeup to make it interesting, and also because I I know fragrance and makeup as well as skincare. So although skincare is my niche, excuse me, I do know I am experienced at selling, and not only selling, but knowing how fragrance works, knowing how makeup, how to apply makeup, um, knowing the types of like the quality. So just like fragrance, I mean, just like skincare, I also know that for makeup as well as fragrance. So I said, you know what, I'm going to put this stuff up there too, because although I like to think of myself as a generalist in those areas. Like I do have like professional training as a when I went to beauty school as a teenager for applying makeup. although it may not be like in all of the areas of a makeup artist. But I do know how to professionally apply makeup and have applied makeup on several people for various events. So I know makeup, I understand makeup, and I've had enough training on both makeup and fragrances to know them, just like I know skincare, the same way. But skincare I know more because I specialize in it. I went to school for it. So there's another layer to my understanding of skincare, that, and even fragrance. I mean, like I even studied fragrance in my skincare therapy program. So I do know fragrance and I do understand it because I did study that as well. So I do I do. Like I went to school for that as well. And so, but even with makeup, I understand it and I know it because I've had so many trainings. I digress. I digress. So, be that as it may. So I had all this, training, and became really fun, producing that content on social media, on YouTube, and I did that from 2017 to 2019, the end of 2019, and then my world changed. It changed drastically at that point when we came into 2020, just before COVID hit the entire world. My mom was becoming more like, her dementia was becoming more serious, and so things were changing in my world. It changed drastically in 2020 for me. I know for a lot of people, obviously it did. For me too, with COVID, and then with so many other facets of my life. I stopped posting. I stopped posting content. 2019, probably towards the end of 2019, was the last time I started posting content regarding skincare, makeup, fragrance, anything in the beauty industry. I actually stopped posting, for I think a year, probably over a year. And then when I posted in 2021, it was just, like things about me. It wasn't anything regarding the business. So uh, I stopped posting. I was in a new world now. But even though I wasn't posting, I was still learning. So even though I wasn't posting content on, on these accounts of mine, I was still learning. I was still growing. My beauty industry education still continued, but I just wasn't posting any of that anymore. I just at that point, like, things changed for how I felt. So okay, so then after that, I pulled down that account in 2023. So I got rid of that account in 2023. And from 2023, I have a fly around here, 2023 until till now, or just before now, just before a few weeks ago, God was speaking to me about getting back into that. Now, I didn't know how that was going to work. I really didn't know how that was going to work, because what I had at my disposal then, the skincare products that I had at my disposal, the environment that I was in at that time, is not the same today. And so God was speaking to me about getting back to that, about doing that. And I didn't know how I was going to do that. And I didn't want to go, like, it was like almost a paradox, because I didn't want to go back to the way I did it. I I didn't want to do that because, as I said, even though I had stopped posting, the education for me still continued. So I had grown from the things that I was posting, the content that I was posting. But I thought God wanted me to do it the way I did it back then. knowing God knew my situation, knowing God knew what I had in my hands was less than what I had in my hands back then. So I thought he wanted me to do it the way I did it in 2017 and 2018 and 2019. I thought, these flies, go. So I thought he wanted me to do it that way. God, even though I knew he knew that I didn't have, oh my goodness. Oh, sorry, guys. Bear with me. They're coming at me left, right, and center. Trust me, before I put this thing on, they weren't even bothering me. They were nowhere near me. So this is just Satan's minions. Anyway, so 2017, 2018, 2019, and like I said, he knew, but he was telling me he wanted me to pick up where I left off. And I, like I said, didn't want to go back there. I couldn't go back there. And I really didn't know how to do it any other way, because that's the only way I knew. So it was very interesting what had happened, because he was nudging me and he was and I told him, and this is something I was having a conversation with him about. I said, God, I don't want to do it the way I was doing it before. I don't want to, I just don't want to go there. And like at no time did he say, I don't want you to do it. Like he didn't, he just listened to me have this conversation with him and say, speak my thoughts. All he kept saying was, he wanted me to go back and do it. I think I was picking it up more at a subconscious level at that time. So, so then, but he kept saying he wanted me to do it. Like he wanted me to start, pushing my company. He wanted me to start moving towards pushing my company. And it's interesting how God works, because even though he was motivating me to do that, I don't think it was meant for me to do it at the times that he was pushing me. It was kind of like a nudge, kind of like preparing, kind of like saying, okay, like, and he just wanted to like give me promptings. This is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to do. And I wasn't doing it because I couldn't quite pick up that this is what he meant. So I did other things for my business. I did other things to try and promote my business and try to promote, like get clients and whatnot. And even doing that, he was saying, you're not listening to, like, you're not being obedient to what I'm asking you. You're not being obedient to what I ask you. And I'm like, God, you know me. You know who I am. You know that if I was fully aware of what it was you're asking me, I would do it. But for some reason, it's just not connecting with me. Like I'm just not fully grasping what it is, because he was telling me, but it was I was getting it at a subconscious level, or I want to say in his very soft voice. And so I wasn't doing what I had just talked to you about. I was doing it in other ways, but he wasn't asking me to do it in other ways. And I kept doing it in other ways. And he even said to me, the other ways are not working. But I'm like, God, I don't know what you're asking me, because I don't have what I had in the past. Like I can't do it that way. Like I said, if that's what you're asking me, I can't do it that way. And so he didn't say anything. So, um, so then so this is all to set up for what the message is about, which is basically what was done in the past is not what God is expecting you to do today. I went, this was a couple of weeks ago, and I was at church. It was during the middle of the week. I was at church, and the pastor's grandson was speaking. He gave a very powerful message, on, and that message which was so powerful. Like it moved everyone. And he touched on 3 points. All three of those points were for me. Like all three of those points, they were for me. And one of those points told me exactly what God was expecting from me. Exactly what he was expecting from me. During that message, during that whole message that he was saying, in the seat, sitting in the pew, I picked up completely, not before, not until I sat in the pew and listened to him give that message that he gave. Then I realized what God was asking. So, of course, I was obedient to that. And that was like a couple of weeks ago. So then when he gave that message on Tuesday, then on Wednesday, I did what I did to talk about my business and to promote my business because I was just being obedient to God. So I just did it the way that I could do it with what I have at hand. So after doing that, like, so because, and this was another thing, just prior to the message that the pastor's grandson gave, just prior to that, this was on Friday where I gave a message on the Sabbath rest. And so that was on a Friday. So normally when I would give my messages, I would always have like another one. Like I always would have another message for the following week. Sometimes, I would have a message and then God would just dump another message in my lap and he'd say, I want you to talk on this one before you talk on the one that you already have. So, but after I did that message, there were no messages coming to me. I was receiving no messages. And I'm like, God, what's the next thing you want me to speak on? And so God didn't respond. And so when Sunday came, I'm like, God, because I really enjoy giving these messages. So when Sunday came, I'm like, God, God, what's the message? Like, what is the message that you are giving me? Are you going to give me a message? And he didn't say anything. And so then I kind of figured it out by Sunday. By Sunday, I knew. I said, God, what am I not doing? That has stopped you from giving me any more messages? What instruction have you given me that I have not executed? Because like my relationship with God, I know, like how he works. And so I knew that there was something on my end that I was not doing that had stopped him from giving me any more messages to speak on. So I knew, and he let me know. He let me know that there was something that I wasn't doing, but he just didn't let me know what it was. Didn't let me know. That was Sunday. So Monday and Tuesday. So Tuesday, when I went to the evening service, heard that message, knew exactly what it was he was requiring of me. And then I went ahead and I did it the following day, and I did everything that he asked me to. And so I said to myself, he's not going to give me any messages probably for a month, and because he really, really wants me to work on this. And so what ended up happening is after I started doing that, then last week, and it was early last week, after I started executing and doing everything that he wanted me to do, then early last week, he gave me a message, but he said, I don't want you to do it this week. So last week, I did get a message that he wants me to speak on. This week, he said, no, give yourself a break, continue to work on your business. I want you to focus 100% on your business. I just want you to do that and do what you're doing. And so that's exactly what I did do. So I got the message only after I carried out the instructions that he has been asking me to do for months. Now, I say this because when I was praying, or when I was reading the Bible, just, probably about an hour ago here, And, he was basically, telling me, like he was basically talking to me and saying to me that what I did in the past, like the content that I created in the past was, it was for that time. It was for that period. And he wanted me to create that content because, like I said, he made me, like he said, you got to go on Instagram. I did not want to go on Instagram. Had it not been for God, I wouldn't have went on Instagram. This, like me going on Instagram in 2017 was 100% God. It was 100% God coming at me, telling me, you got to go onto Instagram. You have to, you have to post. You have to post. So it was 100% him. I didn't want to go on there. So he was telling me for that time that he had me doing the content that I was doing was the right time for when I did it. But for today, he's saying you're a different person today than you were back then. Your experience has grown and you have grown. And you in this industry are an adult. Back then, you were a child. And he didn't, like, that's not an insult to me. But what he's basically saying is in 2017, 2018, 2019, I was getting my feet wet to, like my business and, how to present it and all the information and like just the tutorials and, like just getting across the message about skincare and just about the beauty industry in general, but specifically skincare. So I was getting my feet wet and basically talking and learning, like talking about it and also learning how to present the skincare industry, the beauty industry, and what I have to offer, and how to, consult and help individuals about skincare products, caring for the skin, about, makeup, fragrance. That was my introduction to actually speaking on it. And, but I have grown. So he does not want me to produce what I was producing back then because God is a forever changing God. Like he does not stay static. He's forever changing. Like he does, like not him himself. He he is the same. Like God himself is the same. But creatively, he is constantly changing. He is constantly evolving. New things are constantly coming out of God. And what God has done yesterday, he's not going to do the same thing today. And he expects us to be the same. So he let me know that what you are producing today is what I want you to produce today. I do not want you to go back to how you were doing it back then. I want you to basically reinvent yourself. And that's basically what it was. It's funny, I was listening to a sermon that Pastor Bronner was giving, and he was talking about hitting rock bottom and how hitting rock bottom is a good thing because at hitting rock bottom, basically you can reinvent yourself. When you hit rock bottom, you have nowhere else to go. But the most dangerous place is being in the middle because being in the middle, you become comfortable and you think like you become so comfortable that you don't care to push yourself forward, to try and improve yourself or to learn more, to do more, because where you are is comfortable. But to get to the bottom, that's where you're like, okay, how do I reinvent myself? How do I change? How do I, how do I do what it was that I used to do? And so that's the message that God basically wanted me to share to whoever out there needs this, that whatever it was that you were doing in the past, do not think that God is expecting you to do what you did in the past today. He wants you to reinvent yourself, to reinvent yourself. And through that reinvention, because you have grown, you have become more educated, more knowledgeable, you're more experienced, your walk with Him has strengthened. And so with that, you have evolved. So whatever you were doing in the past, God is saying, no, I have a new thing for you. And so I want you to do this a new way. I do not want you to be a copy of your past. So that is my message for today regarding what you were doing yesterday. He is not expecting you to do it today. He does not want you to do it today. He wants you to do a new thing. So just speak to Him, find out exactly what He is looking for you to do today. And until later this week, have a good one. And by the way, if you are not a follower of Jesus Christ, I strongly, strongly suggest that you become one. It will be the greatest decision you ever made in your life. Give Him 1 year of your life, and just commit to Him. And in that time, like if you really commit to Him, really just give yourself over to Him, surrender to Him, and allow Him to lead you into what it is that He has for you. Develop a relationship with Him, develop a friendship with Him. And in a year's time, I'm sure you won't want to turn your back on Him. Okay, so until later this week, have a good one.